Is smaller possibly better for LEGO Star Wars? Let's find out. Hello everybody, the Brickologist here with another throwback LEGO Star Wars set review. Today we're going back 20 years into the past to 2003 to look at set number 4490, Republic Gunship Mini Building Set. This set used to retail for about $7 here in the US, adjusted for inflation that's closer to $12, contains 102 pieces, and here is a front look at your very nice blister pack box, and the back of the box showcases the combination model aspect of this set. More on that in a minute. I wanted to quickly examine the uniqueness of this box. I doubt LEGO will do anything like this in the future because it's mostly plastic, which isn't super environmentally friendly. However, I think this box is super fun. Firstly, you have a replica of a brick right here, which surprisingly has clutch power. I was not expecting that, but kind of pleasantly surprised. That is very cool. And basically the way this box opens is from the top, it folds down like so. The inside has a cardboard cutout that opens up like this, and then your pieces are inside here. So a very interesting, fun, and different LEGO box. You get one rather small instruction manual with 22 pages of building, and at the front there is a nice advertisement for all the other miniature sets from 2003 with a CGI Yoda looking over them. That's pretty fun. However, the best part is at the back of this manual showcasing the combination model. So if you get all four of these sets, you get one piece from each of them to build this miniature scale Y-Wing, and it does have instructions on how to put that respective part together. So you basically get the torso of the Y-Wing right here, which is not very impressive by itself, but when you get the other sets, it makes a lot more sense. It makes for a very cool combination model. This is the part of the review where I would normally introduce the minifigures of the set, but there are none here, so let's just look at the build. Before you have the miniature version of the LAAT, otherwise known as the Low Altitude Assault Transport, and LEGO has made this vehicle many times, but in 2003 this was just the second version, coming off the tail of the 2002 version, which of course was minifig scale. For a mini model, this actually packs a lot of punch. The front here looks very solid. I like the use of this part right here in lime green, and the joysticks replicating the cannons was very clever. The slopes right here are definitely blocky, but that's to be expected in 2003. Some solid techniques are used to create the slope of the vehicle here, and I think it looks very solid. The cockpit area is designed pretty cleverly. I think that all looks really good. The main hangar doors here can't move, but they have a nice slope, and of course you have the iconic bubble turrets right here that can move inside and out just a little bit. Now, unfortunately, they use an opaque gray R2-D2 head with no printing. First off, would have been really cool to print this part. Second off, this should have been some sort of transparent color. It looks very distracting to me in opaque gray. The same exact issue follows onto the wings as well. Exact same part, definitely a big miss in my opinion. However, that's not nearly the biggest issue with these wings. To accomplish the unique shape of the wings, LEGO used some Technic pieces to get the specific angle, and basically when you're just glancing at it, it looks pretty good. However, if you pick this thing up, you can see the wings here start to wobble up and down. Additionally, they can spin like this, so it is very easy to just hit this thing and all of a sudden your wings are completely out of whack. So that's not a great design. However, the shaping of the wings is very solid. I think the cannons up here look pretty good, and there's also an additional cannon from the back using another joystick piece, so that's all fine and dandy. However, I can't get over how loosely attached the wings actually are. So is smaller better for the Republic gunship? Absolutely not. I don't think anybody in their right mind is going to choose this miniature scale model over the minifigure scale version, especially this one's counterpart from 2002. That being said, I think this little set has its own merits. The design, especially for the time period, is actually pretty good. I pointed out my flaws throughout this review, but it's instantly recognizable and it's proportioned fairly well, which is impressive given the scale. The price is pretty hard to beat. $7 back in the day, I mean, come on. We don't get anything that cheap from LEGO Star Wars besides like poly bags these days. And even adjusted for inflation, around $12 doesn't feel bad at all for the piece count, and it's even cooler when you know that you can actually build the combination model if you collect the complete set. Here is a quick size comparison next to the Ahsoka Clone Troopers battle pack from earlier this summer. As you can see, this $7 set in 2003 is a bigger build than a $20 set in 2023. Obviously the battle pack includes minifigures, which makes a huge difference, but it's still an interesting thing. Additionally, if you want to get this set on aftermarkets, go for it. It's only about $25 brand new, so if you like what you see here, definitely purchase it. It's worth that amount of money. It is pretty inexpensive. So yeah, I like this. I like this a lot. It's not a perfect set by any means, but I think it's a fun, unique, different spin on an iconic LEGO Star Wars vehicle, and that's why this set is going to get a really solid rating of 7 out of 10. Those are my thoughts though. I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. Also, while you're at it, please check the description to find me on all sorts of social media pages. Also, while you're at it, please like this video, subscribe to this channel, click that bell for more new video notifications. Thank you all so much for watching. This is the Brickology signing off. Peace out. God bless. Bye-bye. Hello everybody, the Brickologist here with another throwback LEGO Star Wars review. Today we're going back to the year 2003 to take a closer look at set number 4491, the MTT Mini Building Set. This used to retail for about $7 here in the US, adjusted for inflation that's closer to $12 in 2024 money. It contained 99 pieces, and unfortunately I do not have the packaging, but here is a quick look at what the very interesting blister style plastic packaging looked like. I do, however, still have the instruction manual that has 27 total pages of building. At the front here, there is an advertisement with CGI Yoda showing off all the mini models from 2003. At the back, there is an advertisement for the 4 bigger sets from this collection, which if you get all 4 of these sets, each one of them comes with a small chunk of a Y-Wing, and combined can actually complete a miniature scale Y-Wing, similar concept to like a buildable figure from a Marvel Legends series, if you're familiar with those. Pretty cool stuff. I reviewed the gunship a couple months ago, so click the card in the upper right corner to see that review, and I'll showcase the piece of the Y-Wing the MTT comes with later on in this video. Here is the miniature scale MTT, otherwise known as the multi-troop transport. Yeah, this thing is quite small. Here is a size comparison next to the 2023 Mandalorian and 1 Starfighter Microfighter, or here's a little bit of a bigger Star Wars ship, the 2023 Yoda's Jedi Starfighter. You can see it is really tiny, but it actually packs a lot of punch. The rather bubbly front this vehicle has is probably the most iconic thing about the MTT, and I think LEGO made the right part choice here. That piece looks very good. Additionally, I think the antenna / joystick pieces work pretty well for small cannons. It's actually designed that carried over from the same scale gunship. The side shaping here is not bad. There are a few gaps. I don't love the gap you can see right here. Additionally, there is a gap inside there, which is a bit odd, but actually the dimensions here are pretty solid. I especially like all of these angles. I think they flow really well together. Now, I do need to mention the use of kind of the burnt orange color as an accent for this vehicle. In some ways, I think it makes this build pop a little bit more than normal. However, when comparing it to the real in-universe MTT, there ain't no orange on that vehicle. It's pretty much just all brown. So LEGO probably should have left that out for accuracy's sake. The shaping more towards the back, I would say, is a little more on the blocky side, something I would expect for a set from 2003. Not bad necessarily, and it's also all covered up, which is good, but it's not the most aesthetically pleasing. The back here is fine, I guess, and it does have a little feature where you can move this down like a ramp, and the interior is kind of hollow, giving you the sense that there could be something going on inside there. There's no features here though. There's no way to actually roll out a really small scale battle droid platoon, just kind of all for display. Finally, I think these pieces on the bottom here do a very good job of giving us the illusion that this vehicle is floating. I like the shadows it creates. That is not a new LEGO trick, but it's used very well here. Finally, the chunk of the Y-Wing included with this set here is one of its engines, and I gotta say, for 2003, the design techniques used here, the greeble details, the shaping, all very nice. It actually looks really good. Here is the body of the Y-Wing from the gunship set. It's very easy to attach this on, and now I have half of a miniature Y-Wing. Hopefully I can get the other two sets here in the near future to complete this entire build. So the miniature scale MTT, how is it? I think it's honestly very solid, especially for a set that is over 20 years old. I pointed out my little nitpicky kind of flaws throughout this review, but nothing is detrimental to this design overall. Additionally, if you want to buy this set, it ain't that much. It's worth like maybe $20 sealed and less than $10 out of box. So it hasn't gone up in value much, if at all. The adjusted for inflation price of $12 I think is 100% fair. So if you want this set, definitely go out and buy it. It's 100% worth it. And I do like these very small scale vehicles that are an easier way to get an iconic Star Wars creation in just a more affordable way. Those flaws I mentioned do prevent this from being a great set, but it's still a very good set, and that's why it's going to get a 7 out of 10. Those are just my thoughts though. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you all so much for watching today's review. Peace out. God bless. Bye-bye. Hello everybody, the Brickologist here with another throwback LEGO Star Wars set review. Today we're going back to the year 2003 to take a closer look at set number 4489, AT-AT Mini Building Set. This used to retail for about $7 here in the US, adjusted for inflation that's closer to around $12 in 2024. It contained 98 pieces, and I unfortunately do not have the box, but here's a quick look at what the box looks like. However, I do still have the instruction manual here, which at the front has an advertisement for all the mini building sets from 2003, and the back here showcases the model you can put together if you buy all of these sets. I have already reviewed the MTT and the gunship, go check those out, and I will review the Falcon soon, and we can look at the completed Y-Wing model at the end. Additionally, we have some ads for classic 2003 sets like the old Jabba's Palace stuff, the original T-16 Skyhopper, and then of course the old Attack of the Clones wave, also part of it from 2002. Some really classic and nostalgic stuff in this instruction booklet. There's no fluff really. Let's look at the AT-AT itself, which I think admittedly is kind of on the derpy side. The legs are made with these ratchety Technic pieces that are still around today, and that gives them lots of posability, which is great. However, they are so spindly. I know the AT-AT has spindly legs, but these look especially skinny, and I'm not a huge fan of that. But this piece here for the foot was a pretty creative part use. The head here once again uses the joystick piece as small guns. We are 3 for 3 on that design technique in these mini building sets. However, I think the use of this part right here, which was relatively new at the time, not a great choice. It's way too curvy, and I think the AT-AT's head should be more angular. Now the head has some movement, which I appreciate, but it's not the movement I would like to see. Basically, you can move it up and down, which is good, and then you can rotate it like so, but there's no side-to-side motion, and I feel like that's the most iconic movement the AT-AT's heads have in the film. The main body of the beast here is quite blocky, but I think it has kind of an early 2000s LEGO charm to it, and the shaping is not half bad. The top, I think, could have been smoothed off with some tiles, but other than that, I don't mind the techniques. It also doesn't look half bad from the back, which is a nice touch as well, and you can kind of see the side profile profile of the body here, the shaping is fairly decent. Before we wrap things up here, we have to, of course, look at the piece of the Y-wing included with this set, and this is by far the most recognizable one because it's the head of the vehicle itself with the cockpit and the replication of an astromech droid there with the 1x1 stud, and there are the Technic pin connection points at the back. You can use those, of course, to attach it to the torso, and the one engine we've already looked at in my other reviews for these mini building sets, and once I review the final set from this collection, the Millennium Falcon, we'll have the completed Y-wing model. Unfortunately, I think the mini building set of the AT-AT is probably the weakest one we've looked at so far. There are some decent techniques here, and the playability functions are pretty good for a model of this size. However, I just don't think, aesthetically speaking, it looks that great. Fortunately, the value of $7 back in 2003, or around $12 adjusted for inflation here in 2024, was really solid for this set. I mean, here's a quick size comparison with the Swamp Speeder from the Ahsoka Troopers Battle Pack last year. It is night and day, and that set was $20. I mean, that's an absolutely crazy comparison to look at. Additionally, the aftermarket price used is around $12, so I'd recommend going that route because sealed it's more like $30 to $35, and I think that's way too much to pay for this particular set. However, that's not enough to save me from giving this set a slightly negative leaning review. That's why it's gonna get here a 5.5 out of 10 from me. Those are just my thoughts though. I'd love to hear yours in the comment section down below. Thank you all so much for watching today's review. Have a great rest of your day. Peace out, God bless, bye-bye. Hello everybody, the Brickologist here with another throwback LEGO Star Wars set review. Today we're going back to the year 2003 to take a closer look at set number 4488. Love that kind of double number there. This is the Millennium Falcon mini building set. It used to retail for about $7 here in America, and adjusted for inflation that's closer to $12 here in 2024. It had 87 total pieces, and unfortunately I do not have the box, but here is a quick picture at what that box looked like. Included with this set is one instruction manual that has 26 pages of building. The front here has an advertisement with CGI Yoda and all of the other 2003 mini building sets, and as we move our way towards the back, here's the rest of this size collection with the Y-wing kind of build-a-figure model, if you will, which we will complete today. And finally, there is an ad for the original TIE Bomber set at the back here, which is very nostalgic for me. There's no fluff here, well, besides the Y-wing piece, but of course, let's start off by looking at the Millennium Falcon mini building set itself first. Just kind of glancing at the overview of the entire design, I think the silhouette of the Falcon here is halfway decent. Some of the gaps are a bit too big, and it might be a little on the chonky side, but for 2003, they did a pretty good job. Now, the other three sets from this series were pretty smooth designs for being over 20 years old. This one is quite stud heavy, as you can see by the front right here. The use of the studs right here, that's not too bad, but look at this. They just have a couple of plate pieces, and I think it looks a little awkward, and I don't like how these kind of drift in their own direction. Just not the best build ever. The radar dish is pretty simple, and it does like to fall off very easy. I've almost lost that thing quite a few times. As we move on towards the side, we can see one of my favorite details in this set that's repeated on both sides of the vehicle, and that is this awesome circular printed 2x2 tile. That graphic design is to die for. Speaking of devilishly good prints, look at the dish piece atop the Falcon here. Oh my gosh, for how old this set is, that design is spectacular. LEGO was able to cram so many small details in it. That is the highlight of this entire set. Unfortunately though, it's a little awkward the way it attaches on to the rest of the build. There is a red piece right there completely visible. And then my biggest issue is that this should really be the entire top, but there's this extra section that just doesn't look accurate at all and throws off the entire aesthetic of this vehicle. I do like that we do have the use of the joystick piece for the cannons on top of the Falcon. We're now 4 for 4 with this series having that exact same design technique. The blue engines at the back here could have been a little bit bigger and wrapped around more of the side, but I think the attempt was pretty commendable. Another great effort towards this set is the bottom has that same dish piece on the top, just not printed, and it's really nice that they actually rounded off the bottom of this vehicle because the minifigure scale versions of this set actually haven't even made that attempt, but the really tiny one did. Finally, there's the cockpit, which I think is probably the most important part of this design, and LEGO nailed the shape, and they used an R2-D2 head for it, and I think that makes a lot of sense. However, there is no printing on it, and that is unacceptable. I try my hardest to give LEGO the benefit of the doubt with these old sets when there are plenty of limitations that came with the time period. However, the R2-D2 headpiece has been printed since 1999. They were very capable of printing this piece and giving it an awesome graphic design to resemble the cockpit. They just didn't. It's lazy and it looks really bad. An unprinted version of that part is included with this set as part of the Y-Wings engine, which is the final piece we needed to complete that build, which I will review in an upcoming video, so stay tuned for that. Unfortunately for this series, the most iconic vehicle in Star Wars ended up being the worst set of the bunch. This has a lot of flaws. Now, before I kind of heap some of my hate on this set, I do love some of the printed pieces. I think the silhouette shaping isn't half bad, and the attempts to actually curve off the underside are fantastic. Additionally, the price was great. I mean, 87 pieces for $7 was awesome back in 2003, and $12 adjusted for inflation is great too. But if you want to purchase this set on aftermarkets, it's actually about $40 sealed. Don't do that. $15 used though, as long as the prints are in good condition, maybe go that route instead. Sadly, my old set lens only goes so far, and I can no longer say that this is a good design. There are way too many flaws, highlighted just by the egregious oversight of not printing the cockpit. That is inexcusable and kind of throws off the entire thing, but there also are a lot of other flaws. This just really isn't a particularly good set. Hopefully my Y-Wing review here soon will be a bit more positive because I don't want to end this series on such a sour note. I'm giving this set here a 4 out of 10. Those are just my thoughts though. I'd love to hear yours in the comment section down below. Thank you all so much for watching today's review. Peace out, God bless, bye-bye. Hello everybody, the Brickologist here with another throwback LEGO Star Wars set review, but before I review today's set, I have to ask you a very important question. What happens when you combine a Millennium Falcon, an AT-AT, a Republic gunship, and an MTT? You get a Y-Wing, of course. For those of you unaware, in the year 2003, LEGO introduced this miniature building system of Star Wars sets. They were mini models sold in blister style packages, and if you bought all 4 of these sets, you got an individual piece with each one to combine together and create this Y-Wing. So let's review the Y-Wing itself, which actually has some really good techniques on its own, but also some setbacks due to the combination model aspect of this design. The most noticeable of those flaws to me is this area, which looks a little bit too thick in my opinion. This is all to accommodate the fact that these pieces come in different sets and they have the Technic rods right there. It's not the worst looking design in the world, it's just a little on the chonky side. The shaping around the cockpit though is pretty good, and we are now 5 for 5 with all of these mini models having that exact same joystick piece being used as a gun. I love it. Despite being so small, there actually are some decent greeble details here, and this 1x1 stud is supposed to represent an astromech droid, which is a nice touch. This view of the Y-Wing's caboose isn't all that spectacular, however, the engines back here are by far the best design in this entire set. For 2003, the techniques on display here were absolutely fantastic. fantastic. I think it looks great. This rod piece is really good. I love the way they attach the cone piece inside there. The R2-D2 head is used really effectively. Everything about this is clicking for me. I just kind of wish maybe there were some exhaust details from the very back. One final thing before we wrap up, I hate the way the Y-wing is so flat on the bottom. It looks kind of awkward to me while sitting on the ground. If perhaps they added an additional plate down there, it would have given it more definition as a display piece. Otherwise, it looks really good. So how is the Y-wing miniature building set combiner model? Oddly enough, I think of the 3 original trilogy designs from this series, this one actually is the best overall. It's a better looking model than the AT-AT or the Millennium Falcon. Besides the flaws I pointed out, I think this thing looks really solid, which transitions us into talking about kind of the strangest thing with this set, and that is the value. I'm a bit perplexed on how to articulate my opinions on the value of this set because it is a combination model. I would not recommend buying all of the other sets from this series just to build this Y-wing. However, if you like what you're seeing from the other sets, and even if you don't like one set in particular, I wasn't a huge fan of the Millennium Falcon, I would still recommend just completing it if you're considering getting into this little collection. And I truly do love the concept of a build a figure, or in this case, a build a Y-wing. It's really fun to me, and it's also kind of disappointing LEGO actually got rid of this concept with the second wave of these buildable sets in 2004. So ultimately, this Y-wing is a pretty solid design and a very unique part of LEGO history, which is why I'm going to give it a decent rating of 7 out of 10. Those are just my thoughts though. I'd love to hear yours in the comment section down below. Thank you all so much for watching today's review. Have a great rest of your day. Peace out. God bless. Bye-bye.